Bienvenidos todos. Welcome to the 6th episode of the Sigue Adelante podcast. Today we are bringing back one of our favorite guests, Lidia Ambriz. Welcome to the show. So the last time that we had her on, she was in the works of something that we couldn't really say. She was working at Manscaped at the time, but now you'd like to make the announcement yourself.
Yes, I am working for San Diego FC,
Oh shit, there you go.
the official MLS team that is starting in San Diego. Our first official game is the year 2025.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, not only is it just so cool because it's history in the making, but also being a Latina woman in the sports industry always has been a goal of mine. So this was super duper huge, and I wish I could have shared it sooner, but it was literally in the works right when we had that last interview.
Oh, that's badass, definitely. What do you do there?
I am their social media manager. So if you see our Instagram, Twitter/X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, that is me. And also our marketing community team is absolutely amazing.
Oh, definitely. You gotta check out all their posts. They have some amazing posts. There was some big news that you just recently shared with the club
Yes.
today.
So today that we are filming, we're filming on Wednesday, December 13th. We officially announced our first player. This was not only a huge announcement for the team itself as it is our first player. It was a huge thing for me because literally it was my first professional social media announcement of a player launch. But this was just huge for the team because he is like rooted from San Diego. And I feel like it just showcases the values that San Diego FC has. So we were super duper excited to announce it to everyone who's a part of our club. So that was announced today.
Yeah, and San Diego is definitely a city, there's multiple. How many cities are there?
Oh, there's so many, but 18 cities. So we have
18
our
cities. That it's a huge Latino Mexican population. So I know definitely they'll be excited for this new soccer team. Um, Tell us a little bit about what you guys are kind of working on.
so just in December, we had a street flow event in which we incorporated skate, soccer, and art. I feel like San Diego FC really focuses on the community, and we hone in on different aspects of what San Diego has to offer, or more like what our community has to offer to us. So that was super duper fun. The turnout was amazing. So that was so exciting. But not only that, we had the player announcement today. I feel like we're continuously bringing out many announcements on our social or our email or different aspects and stuff. But I really, really, really fell in love with San Diego FC and the opportunity to work for them. And the reason why I made the decision of making that change in my career was because I saw how much they brought our community together. I was able to go to their brand of reveal event. Actually, we were able to go.
Yeah, we both went together.
It was amazing. But not only that, I felt like I was at my family barbecue or carne asada because I was surrounded by Latinos, but not only that, like a bunch of different cultures. Definitely because they are a part of the Sequan tribe. The Sequan tribe is a part of San Diego FC. So they really hone in like the Native Americans, the Hispanics, the like literally all cultures and generations of individuals. Like you just went to that event and you just visually saw it and felt it, like the music, the vibes, the energy, and I completely just fell in love with what they have to offer and the community that they create.
Oh yeah, I know there was a lot of Mexican music, Latino music that they were playing. You were even doing that one dance.
Yes, I was dancing. I forgot what it's called. I have sick brain right now. But it was honestly like a moment that I kind of like sat back and you saw me where I like looked around and I like wanted to cry because I felt like, whoa, like this is such a beautiful community, and for me to be part of it, and then for them to bring that so close to us, like it was just, yeah, I feel like it's not only a club, it's not just a football team, but it's a community in itself. That's what's beautiful, and that's what San Diego has to offer, which is incredible.
I think that's one of the crazy things about football is that so many different countries and
Hmm.
everywhere around the world. It's getting bigger in the United States, but everywhere else in the world, it's like their pride and joy, and it's crazy how it brings all these cultures, all these different types of people together. Because I know you work with people from all over the world. I know,
Yeah.
especially like all these players that are gonna be coming and going against are gonna be all across the world, and it's cool to see that. I know one thing in Mexican culture is that's really big for us, La Selección, all the soccer games and all that, but it's pretty new to you. Kind of,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, so I feel like growing up, soccer as a Latina, soccer has always been a part of my life. Like my mom, my family would watch soccer games, and it's always been there. My little brother played soccer when he was a toddler, and we had that. Or my cousins would play soccer. Like it's just something that's like bred in us, I guess. But um, it was so new to me because yes, I love soccer, but like I didn't play for it my whole life as you did. Like you played
Hmm.
for it forever, so you know everything. So it was such like a big different thing. Like I always loved soccer, I love football, I love it all. But um,
No, you're kind of getting like a bigger appreciation for
yeah,
it, and like
yeah, because
now
I
you're
like
really getting more into the details and all of that stuff.
yeah. No, that's a really yeah. But when you were saying about different cultures and how soccer unites everyone, I feel like San Diego FC, they're also associated with the right to dream, where excellence can be found anywhere. So they find excellence in Ghana, in like everywhere around the country. And I feel like that's such a beautiful movement to have because it's similar to like what we have discussed before, what you have discussed in the podcast, where excellence is found is can be found anywhere and
Mhm.
whatever you do so. It's really nice to be a part of that. And then San Diego being a border city of Tijuana is super amazing too because um, they're not seeing us as two different things. Rather, they're breaking that barrier and like wanting to like they're including them because that is also their club.
Yeah.
Like it's not just San Diego's club. It's literally it could be everyone's club, and Tijuana is one of us, so that is their club as well.
And I think that's one thing with soccer that's kind of unfortunate is that there's a lot of really good players, there's a lot of talent out there, but they never really get the opportunity. So that's really good that the club is kind of doing something to get like all these underprivileged or places that you wouldn't really go to find all this talent and youth. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that.
I feel like yeah, it's super beautiful. It's just so nice to be part of uh like work with people who are making a difference. And it's a huge change for me because I'm so used to like just selling retail clothes or selling grooming products, but here I am and they're making a movement. They're like a community, and I'm like, wow, like this is such a beautiful change to have. Like I have so much joy in what I'm doing because they bring so much joy to me. So it has been an amazing, incredible change, and I'm lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you. It's
Thank you.
awesome too. You get to kind of work within your own community of people
Oh
as
yes.
well as like the other communities. But it must be nice to
Y-
work.
yeah, it's really nice because like when you brought that up, I'm like, I gotta use Spanish more often too
Yeah.
because they really like to have a Spanglish language. Like it's super nice because like in my previous works, I never really have been able to use Spanish other than my when I would help out with my parents or my uncle's bars and nightclub. So it's super nice that I really feel like I'm myself and I'm like, okay, like this is fun. Like this is incredible. Like this is just so beautiful. So yeah.
I know with me growing up, I played soccer for since I was 5. So it's always been a big part of my life. I know um, my family for sure. We definitely every weekend grew up watching soccer games. My dad, my grandpa, to this day they'll be watching the Chivas games, yelling, screaming at the referee. Um, yeah, it's a really big community, and it's fun to be a part of. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like where that brings you and how you're gonna all the experiences that you're gonna have with that. I
Thank
know
you.
next World Cup it's gonna be right here in Mexico and the United States and Canada. So they have three stadiums in Mexico. They have Azteca, which I've actually been to once, and it's a badass fucking stadium. It's right there in Mexico City. I didn't go for a soccer game. I went for a football game. But to be right there in Mexico City, it is, oh my gosh, it makes you appreciate your culture more. I know you've been to Mexico City
Oh, I
too.
love Mexico City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a good amount of times. So I love it. I want to go back every day, every year.
And then they have another one, and I'm pretty sure that in Guadalajara, they have a stadium that they're gonna do for the World Cup there. We were not in Guadalajara, but we were in Jalisco, in Puerto Vallarta, just this past week.
Well, yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, so that was really fun. Um, it's crazy because there's so much in Mexico as far as like the terrain and like all like the natural beauty. Like we were literally driving in the taxi, and to the left of us, it looks like you're like in the
Jurassic
jungle.
Park.
Yeah, and then you go look to the right, and then you're like on the beach. There's like beautiful sunsets, oceans.
Light blue water, turquoise.
Mexico literally has everything. They have like snow, mountains, freaking
Desert.
deserts, forests, all this crazy stuff. So Mexico is definitely, I love going there and seeing like just how much it has to offer.
It's so beautiful. And I feel like every single time I go, like, I'm always in awe. But not only that, like, there's so many places to go to. Like, we just went to Cancun and Puerto Vallarta this year itself. But I'm like, we still want to go so many other places because it's so nice to go back to where our culture's from and where our parents, our grandparents are from. So it's like to be rooted back in the roots of our people is so fun. And I was in love. Like the food, the vibes, the energy.
Oh,
Everyone is so nice and caring, and I'm like, oh, I love it.
there's also a third stadium that they're gonna have the World Cup at. I don't know if you've seen the video of the stadium in Monterrey, but that stadium is insane. Right it's like right in the middle, and they're surrounded by mountains that are green, and it is beautiful to see there. And I definitely want to. Hopefully, we can go. I
Hope
mean,
so.
we tried to go to the World Cup in Qatar, and we got tickets, but it's kind of weird because it's like a lottery. So
It's a whole step process.
yeah, it's pretty challenging, but for this one, definitely we'll go. I know once it does happen, there's gonna all the people from across the world are gonna come to Mexico, and I think it's gonna be really cool because it's gonna be able to not only like help out like the local businesses and all that stuff, but it's gonna make people just appreciate our country
Yeah.
even more. Like you always see it on TikTok, but now you're gonna in like all these other videos, but now everybody's gonna come and see it like firsthand.
But that's like perfect example too how football, soccer, whatever you may call it, unites so many different cultures in so many different countries because we all come together to watch these games. We're all cheering, we're all chanting. Like it's just so beautiful because here we have everyone in one stadium, in one country, in one little area, and that's just so amazing.
I know how the same way, like, that's a big part of our culture. There's other sports um, and all that stuff that are big in Mexican Latino culture. I know for sure me growing up, boxing was a pretty big thing. Whenever there was a fight, like Canelo fighting, oh my gosh, I mean, to this day we still watch all the Canelo fights. Any Mexican that fights, I know it's really big in our culture, and we're some of the best boxers and fighters out there. Did you grow up watching all the boxing fights and all that stuff?
So growing up, we did watch it. I wasn't the biggest fan beyond, like, to be honest, when I was so young, because it's like I was seeing that and I was like, oh, like I was getting nervous. But as I grew up and as I watch it now, or a couple years ago, like I enjoy it way much more, and you hear me screaming and going wild. But also not only that, like my family would always have it watching. They would have watch parties at their house if they didn't have it at their bar. Like it was something that, like, okay, this day we're watching we're watching it together, whether you like it or not. And if we're too little, then all our cousins were outside playing while the parents were inside cheering, drinking, living their best life.
Yeah, it was boxing and then UFC too. I know there's a lot more Mexican fighters. Brandon Moreno, obviously the GOAT.
Oh,
He's our favorite. He's from right here in Tijuana.
the GOAT, the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
Um, Same thing with baseball too. I know pretty recently, with the World Baseball Classic just happening, Mexico did pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, we're
In
beasts.
the World Baseball Classic, we took Otani and Japan deep in that semifinals game, but seeing just how much our culture grew in that time, like I know there was a lot of videos like on social media and all that, especially with Randy Arozarena when he would go like that
Uh-huh.
and celebrate. He was wearing the sombrero, the botas,
Oh yeah.
and then all of our songs were coming up during that time too.
I feel like we had such an incredible year where our hats were selling out everywhere. Our, exactly what you said, like our artists are trending and getting so big, and it was such an iconic years for us Mexicans because we saw our growth and our appreciation for our community. Because I remember like it would take us like, we didn't get Mexico hats until like the end of this year.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like impossible to get those.
yeah, and they were just trending all over social media, even from the people who are not Latinos themselves or Mexicans themselves. They were sending me TikToks of our Mexico baseball team, and they were like, "Oh, look at this!" Whether it be about the way they look or the way that they're playing or anything, like people were appreciating our Latinos, and that was so awesome this year.
And then no matter where they went to play, we always showed up.
Yeah.
Always. The crowd would be fucking always like majority Mexican fans there going crazy. So it's awesome to see all the support that
Our community receives.
definitely.
It was an iconic year. Now that I'm like looking back, I'm like, wow, like we need to look back and see and list out all the amazing things that had happened to us, because us Mexicans have had big wins this year.
It's crazy. It's almost the end of the year. We're about to start a new year.
Oh my gosh.
2024
We're about to
just
look
around the
up.
corner. Oh, it's exciting. I know one thing in Mexican culture that's pretty big, and you kind of touched bases on earlier, is carne asadas.
Oh yes.
So I know I had millions of carne asadas. I don't know if you want to tell us a
Oh.
little bit about your family's carne asadas and how that would go.
Carne asadas. Shoot, since I came out of the womb, probably my family has had a carne asada every week, and that's how I grew up to be so family orientated. So like in the last episode, we spoke about how my parents and my grandparents and my family have always been in the industry of bars or restaurants. So we would have our carne asadas on Mondays, because Mondays would be their closed day. So my uncle or my grandma, so growing up, my grandma would always make her tacos, her carne asada, her
Those are
pollo,
fire, yeah.
tortillas, salsa. Like, she did everything from scratch, let me tell you. And you know it because you tried it. But that has been a huge, huge aspect, a part of our life because it's something that we had every week. And I remember even when we moved here where we are now, we'd always drive an hour back to my grandma's house to have our carne asadas.
Yeah.
And if we didn't go to the carne asada a week, or she didn't see us one week, she'd be like, ¿Dónde estás? ¿Por qué no estás aquí? And you know it, we still get it. She's like, when are you gonna come to visit us? I want to cook for you. But my family has had the huge tradition of always having our carne asadas. And Caesar came into my family about like 4 years ago. And this year, he did cook the carne asada.
Oh yeah, you already know I throw down too.
So we had the whole like tradition of like, I felt like it was cool because now it was our turn to cook for everyone. And that just shows like our traditions are going to continue on because we planned it and we organized it and you had cooked for them. So it just shows like the traditions continue. But what you found out was that my family always likes to have live music.
Oh yeah. And it'll be like 12 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and you got the banda playing.
Yeah, so we have our grupos going on, live music with our instruments. We're singing, you know, we have our cerveza right there, or our tequila bottle, probably tequila bottle, the most drinking from the botella. My family are singing, my uncle's singing, my dad, my mom, my grandma will come out and sit with us and just chill. And it's just a tradition that we always have had. And it's something that, like I said, like I grew up doing. And then like, you're a part of it too, so no, that's just one of the many that I feel like we have. Like, we always need to have carne asada. And then it's like Becky G, who, when she had her tour and when she performed for Coachella, she was saying like, you're invited to my carne asada. Like that's how she took it as. And that's something that I'm like, oh, like that's like awesome because that's something how I see it too. Like if you're invited to carne asada, you're one of us.
Yeah, your family.
Exactly.
And then I feel like we're kind of in this phase where our families are kind of like merging as one because we just had a carne asada like that where we cooked for everyone.
Yeah.
To watch the football game, so that was fun to like there's similarities, but then everybody has like their own little things that they do.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of like merging together, so it was really cool.
Yeah, like your carne asadas are Sunday, football Sunday. My carne asadas were different too. Yeah, so exactly what you're saying.
And then honestly, like us Mexicans, we celebrate pretty much everything and anything. Like if there's any reason for us to have like a party,
we woke up today,
or anything like that, well, whether it be birthdays, baptisms, baby showers, you got a new job, anything, you get an A on your paper, you get a good grade or
you
something.
woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's always a party. There's always a gathering of us, just being together, having a good time. And I think that's one thing with our culture that like it's probably one of my favorites is how
we celebrate.
No matter what, we celebrate. We all have a good time. We enjoy our time together, and it's fun. I know growing up, it's different when you were like growing up to now. We're like 24 years old, turning 25, and then now you're kind of like, you're not a kid anymore, so now you're like an adult. So it makes you think back about the times like when we used to hit the piñatas, when we used to have bouncy houses. The bouncy houses would test if you had it or not. There would be fights in there. We would wrestle. We would turn off the power, deflate the thing, flip the thing over into the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
The bouncy house was where shit went down, for real. So now, like when we were younger, we were all into that kind of stuff. And then all the grown-ups and everybody else would be, drinking tequila, Modelo time, all that shit. So now we're in that phase where we're kind of like going to Modelo time. We're like part of the tios and then the tias and all that stuff.
We still know how to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
We'll still flip the bouncy house with them.
Yeah, cause my cousin had like a gender reveal party not that long ago. I remember me, my cousin, and a couple of us. The kids were hitting the piñatas and we're just like, yeah, yeah, just cheering them on like crazy. And I still go get the candy. And if I ever see like a little bouncy ball, I'm snatching that stuff too.
Hey, if we can hit it too, we'll hit it.
Oh yeah. We talk about tequila, but recently in Puerto Vallarta, we kind of learned a little bit about mezcal, which, to be honest, I never really liked. I don't know if you did either. It had like a gasoline type of flavor that didn't really sit well. But in Puerto Vallarta, we took a mezcal tasting class, and we learned you're not supposed to drink mezcal with lime. And you already know Mexicans, we put limon, lime on everything. So don't do that, because apparently it messes up the flavor and all that. And also mezcal, you're not supposed to have it cold. You're supposed to have it at room temperature. And the way you drink it is you take a sip, and then you swish it in your mouth for like 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then you swallow, and then usually you have it with like different types of fruits or cheese. Veggies. We had it with jamaica, piña, cucumber, and
cheese.
And then it tasted a lot better like that for sure. Once we knew how to drink it, you're not supposed to really like take a shot out of it like that. And it gets you fucked up. We were on the island. We didn't know what we were doing for a little bit. I had to take a nap. But every region of Mexico, what the guy was saying, has their own different like mezcals. That the process is a lot different from tequila. Whereas I think he said tequila, there's only 2 different agave plants. Whereas with mezcal, they can use I think 20 plus different agave plants. So depending on what city and what state you're in Mexico, the mezcal is different. I know Oaxaca was a pretty big state for producing the mezcal, and we learned that they have to distill the mezcal at least twice, because if it's not distilled twice, then it is lethal and can fuck you up. And the worm too. There was a worm in the mezcal, but he was explaining that you have, like it goes with tequila too, like there's no worms that are allowed in tequila anymore because you have your own separate license, and you have like your like foundation of like the structure of how you create your tequila, but you have to have like a whole separate thing. It's a whole different process to have the worm. Don't eat the worm in the bottles. So if you have the worm in a bottle still, I think recently they just banned it, like within the last couple of years. It's probably worth a lot. So save it up, and maybe in a couple more years it'd be definitely worth something.
Yeah. Not only that, we also learned if the lighter it is, the more pure it is. Mm-hmm. So the lighter it is technically better.
It's like the opposite of tequila, because usually like I don't like drinking blanco. I don't know about you. I don't think we really drink blanco. It's always got to be reposado or añejo and above. And those ones are usually like lighter brown, like a caramel color. But it's like kind of the opposite with mezcal. Yeah,
and I know personally I prefer the darker color mezcal. Mm-hmm. It was a little more smoother for me. The reason why I wasn't the biggest fan of mezcal was because of that smoky taste. But after that tasting, I was like, oh, maybe I do like it. It was like an experience, or maybe it was just me being super buzzed. But my favorite was the piña. But I also don't know if you remember where he talked about how in Mexico they have QR codes
Oh.
now on their tequila and their alcohol because I guess people were starting to create counterfeits. And that way you know it is real and it's actually from the family that produced it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's super awesome because they're protecting those families who started creating the tequila. But also he said too, like, or mezcal, sorry, but he brought up that not the most expensive mezcal or tequila isn't always the best.
Well, for as far as like the mezcal.
Mezcal.
Mhm.
But it's because he was saying that a lot of times, like, it's those smaller families who are producing them and they're selling them in a mini store or selling them to their community only. And while here in the US, we only get them from our grocery store or Bevmo or something, but they get to experience it a little bit more.
Yeah, he was kind of explaining like the tradition of just how, like I always said, certain states and cities, but it's really like honed in on like certain families that make this mezcal from like previous generations, and they just keep doing it and doing it. So you know, kind of like each family has their own, how do you say it? Like they have their own signature, like their own distinct taste, their own aromas, their own flavors, and apparently too, what we learned is that every bottle is not the same. That they cannot produce like the same as far as like the shape. Like every shape is a little bit different, which is pretty cool, and like kind of touching on what you said, he was like, just because the bottle's expensive doesn't make it good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just depends on what family it came from, and that's pretty cool because I know with tequila sometimes you have to spend a good amount. You don't have to spend a lot to get a good tequila, but the chime tequilas, you can tell that they have like all this like additives, and it's just not the best. It makes you kind of nasty sometimes after that. So that was cool. Definitely want to experience more other than like Vallarta, Cabo, Cancun, and all that.
It's a lot.
There's a lot to offer. Have you ever been to other like states in Mexico?
So I have been to Acapulco, which is in Guerrero. We both been to Mexico City. Cuernavaca, which is where my stepdad's family is from. Oh my gosh, I have to look back, but I feel like it was super nice because growing up, my parents really were focused. Well, my grandpa was like, let's take a vacation like 3 times a year.
Oh yeah.
Or something. So my mom would always take us to a vacation like once a year, and our go-to places were always somewhere in Mexico. And that's why I always loved traveling to Mexico because my 24 years now, I've only went to those many places. And I'm like, how many more can I see? And there's so many, and I keep on seeing more and more different places in TikTok and such beautiful places. So checking one by one, little by little, but hopefully we check them all out.
Oh yeah, we for sure will. I know going to like Ensenada, Tijuana too, is something that I grew. Yeah, somewhere that I would go often as a kid. And we used to go eat lobster down there. We'd go to the beach, take our quads, just spend like a couple days out there. It's always, it's not even that far too.
Yeah, it's not that far. And it's crazy when you bring this up because my family would do a very similar thing too, where we would always go to Tijuana and Rosarito and Ensenada and go to Puerto Nuevo to get our lobsters and all that stuff. So we both come from 2 different families, but we would do the same thing, where we would always go back to our roots and go experience those amazing things.
Have you been to San Felipe before?
I don't think I have, but I know my family would go. When my mom was younger, my grandparents would take them.
San Felipe is pretty fun to go to too. We used to go there when we were younger, Um, it would be very hot down there for sure. But we used to get this hotel, and it was literally right on the beach. Like there would be a extreme like the tide would shift like all the way back, and you'd have to walk hundreds of feet just to get to like
Wow.
just to touch water. But then when it would come nighttime, the water would be literally
What?
at the wall right there. Yeah. So that was crazy, and it was fun because we'd like wake up in the morning, and then you would have like fish and then like crabs and stuff, kind of like closer right there to the shore. I remember
Ew.
once there was like a shark like this big, and I just grabbed it with my hand, and I think I had a jellyfish too once. I didn't know that it was a jellyfish because I was like 6 years old. So luckily I didn't get fucked up from that thing. So there was definitely a lot of fun times. I remember my sisters would always come back from San Felipe, and they'd have their hair all trenzado out, and they'd have the cornrows and all that stuff. I think I've seen pictures of you with all that,
Yeah.
with trenzas.
I'm like, come on. Every little girl probably got their braids done, or even now sometimes. Like I was kind of tempted, but I never saw a braiding lady or person or individual who would braid, or else I would have gotten it done because they give some awesome, awesome. Sorry, braids.
Oh yeah, and then another place that I've been to is Chihuahua,
Ooh, Chihuahua.
which is the biggest state in Mexico. It's freaking huge. That's where my dad's from. I went where so there's Chihuahua, and then ironically the city's name like is Chihuahua too. So that's like the main city there. So it was cool down there because it's kind of more on the deserty side, but then it's also they have a canyon called the Copper Canyon, and it's actually much bigger than the Grand Canyon.
Damn.
And over there they have all sorts of weather. You get snow, you get like tropical style rain, and you get the heat, you get the cold. It's crazy. You have like scorpions, snakes. But we went on this. You go like on this ferry ride, not a ferry ride. It's a train, but there's a certain term that they have for it. Um, you pretty much go through it on a train, and you go like you're going through the mountains, through all the wilderness, to get to the canyon, and you'll make like little stops, and over there there's a lot more kind of native people
Mm.
where they're kind of like not out in the boonies, but they're definitely out there, and they're not as connected to like the technology and all that stuff, so they kind of still live upon the same principles as they did years ago. So you'll make these stops, and then you get to like kind of go and like see them, and it's crazy like how they live, and they're still so healthy, so happy, and
Wow.
they like make their own clothes, they make their own food from scratch and all that. So that was really cool to see.
Wow.
And yeah, I've never been to the Grand Canyon before, but I know it has nothing on that canyon.
I have, so I need to go to Chihuahua.
Oh yeah, they also have like these caves that have like crystals and all.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's a lot of like natural beauty out there for sure. Because when I was younger, I would go there with my cousins, and it's crazy how like you can pretty much do anything, and you feel like safe and then like a part of everyone.
Yeah.
Because we'd get me and my cousins that were down there. We'd always get fireworks, and we had quads that we would just ride around in the cities. We'd travel together. We'd go up to like different groups of people, like kids and people we didn't even know, and then we would all hang out together. I went to they had the bulls where they would actually the guy with the flag and
Yeah.
all that, but they would actually like kill the bulls and all that stuff. So
I
that
saw
was
that.
we were like
I've
in
seen
like a
that
little
before.
arena. So that thing was crazy. And then after that, like everybody from the towns, they came and then they did like a big cookout
Of the bowl?
of the bulls. Yeah.
Oh wow. You see, like when I went to go see them in TJ, yeah, we didn't have a cookout after. But when you're bringing up all these natural beauties, it just gets me thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many amazing things. Like we have the cenotes, and then we have all those unique. Like when we went to Puerto Vallarta, there was that bird, the blue-legged bird, and that's the only other ones in the Galapagos. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just so many cool, unique things that we have.
Yeah, Mexico has a lot to offer. Even like when we were in Cancun, we saw like these anteater looking like monkeys things
Oh
that
yeah,
I
I
never
forget
saw before.
what they're called.
I think they're called like Cody's or something like that. But they were crazy. And like, that was the first time that I ever felt humidity like that.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
got off the plane, I was like, oh shit, what the hell is going on here? So Mexico has everything. It's such a, just like a beautiful country as far as like with the culture, but just like the land itself is amazing.
Culture, the people, the land, everything. Everything. I feel like whenever we went to these different areas in Mexico, everyone was just a whole vibe. It was fun. I want to go back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Maybe one day too, we kind of dropped the ball because we were down there. We could have done this podcast in Vallarta with the sunset. Imagine how that would have been.
Oh, that sunset, you guys, it will literally look like a painting. And I know we've said that before. When you look outside and you see beautiful sunset, and you're like, and I've said it before too, like when I'm over here in my daily life. No,
That one was literally out of a painting. That was crazy.
we sent the picture to our family and they would ask if it was fake because of how pretty it looked. No, that was,
That was mind blowing.
I can't. That's so cool.
All right. Well, thank you for being on this week's episode again. You know, we love to always have you here. It's fun talking to you.
Wow, that was it?
Yeah.
Is that more?
We got more, but we gotta just make the people wait.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess there's a lot.
We'll definitely have you back for sure. We'll kind of we'll scheme something up for you guys. And
Yeah.
well, yeah, thank you guys for watching this episode. You can listen on YouTube, Spotify. You know, we have Instagram. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram right there. Next week, I have a very special episode with my brother-in-law, who is not Mexican, but he's Filipino,
Mm-hmm.
and us and Filipinos are pretty much the same. We're the same. They have so many traditions and cultures, and even their language is almost identical to ours. If not, it is. They have words that are the same. And I know he got brought into our family, so he's one of us. He knows just as much as anyone. So we're gonna kind of do like a culture clash on the episode for next time. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for listening, and as always, sigue adelante.
Yay, okay, thank you.